God guide. So I hit my sub goal on Twitch. It was 110 subs, and I let everybody vote on Twitter and in my stream on what god they wanted. The selection was Nemesis, Kabrakan, I think, Vamana, Wukong, Osiris, Tyr, and maybe Susanoo or something. And Nemesis, I think, got like 30 something votes, so she had the most votes, so she actually ended up winning. So I'm going to be doing a Nemesis God guide. Keep in mind this is going to be for solo. We're going to be talking about builds for solo, not in jungle. You play a little bit different in jungle, and we'll talk about all that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this God guide. Leave a like if you do. So let's get right into it. So like always, we're going to start out with how we start our build, and of course how we start the laning phase. I like to go Bluestone Boots 1 on Nemesis. You can go Deathstoll if you're not as comfortable with Nem solo, but I like Bluestone because it increases your damage a lot. You know, you have 3 abilities that proc it. You can go 2 health pots if you feel like your blue's guaranteed. Nemesis does gain pressure and can fight really early, so your blue should pretty much be guaranteed. But if you really feel like you're not, you can go with 2 multi-pots just in case. You're not going to get that blue. So this would be your start to your build. And then for your relic choice, Horrific is kind of good on Nemesis. It kind of doubles down on her slows because she has a slow on her too. It just makes them slowed forever. But they'll probably go sprint against you, so you may not want to go that. I like to go sprint usually. You can never go wrong with getting beads or Aegis, especially into certain comps. So I like sprint, maybe beads, maybe Aegis, and maybe even like a shell if you're looking to fight early with your jungler. But we'll just go sprint to start. So this would be our starting build, and the way we play the laning phase and how we clear is I'll rank up to about level 3 here. So Nem Shield is a really good ability, but at level 3 we're going to put 2 points to our 2 because it's going to hit very hard. It's going to hit for 160. Oh, I guess we should go through Nem abilities real fast. Forgot about that. So Nem abilities, her 1 is just a dash, and it hits twice. So if you dash, you have 2 seconds to dash again. And that means it does 170 damage twice if you have it ranked up all the way. So you only have 2 seconds in between that. And something to note with Nem was she used to not be able to use anything in between her dashes. So once she dashed, if she autoed, she could not dash again. But recently, I think a few months ago, they made it so you can dash, auto, use abilities, and dash again. And this just increases her potential in fights, increases her DPS with auto cancels and stuff like that. So that was a really good change to her. It was just a quality of life thing, but it ended up being a really big buff, and it made people play Nem for a while there. So that's her dash, and I used her too already, and I showed you. Basically, she just swings her blades together and does a lot of damage. It hits like a Kraken. So it's 170, but once again, just like her dash, it hits twice. So they do the same amount of damage. But this actually applies to slow too. So if you hit in between these, let me turn this off, instant casting. I play on instant so you guys can see that. So I put 2 right there. If I hit him in the center of that, it will actually do 2 times damage. I can hit him with the sides and it will do 1 times and apply Bluestone. But if I hit him right in the center, it will hit for 340 2 times, right? So let me take that back off. I just play on instant casting with everything. Let me go to level 5 just so I can use these abilities to show you. And then our 3 is one of the best abilities in the game, in my opinion. It's a shield, and it does a lot of things. It reflects damage, 50% of the damage received. It's a decent reflect. The healing is insane on it. If you rank this up all the way, you get up to 100% of damage received. So if you get Krakened and you use your 3, you're actually going to heal like the entire thing. It's a really good ability, basically an immunity. But it also has the sustain attached to it, and it helps you auto-cancel. And then also the shield health down here, it goes all the way up to 500, which is a lot of health, so that's cool. And it lasts 2 seconds. 16-second cooldown. That's a pretty good cooldown for an ability like that, in my opinion. And then up next is our ult. This is the Tank Shredder. It does 40% of the current HP, 20 up to 40%. It's a single target, so if I just walk up and ult this Odin, I'll do 40% damage to him. And also take 30% of his protections away and gain 25% movement speed. And it also applies a slow that doesn't show here. I think it's either 30% or 40%. Something like that, but she just gains so much from this, and it lasts 8 seconds. They're slowed, and their protections are shredded for 5 seconds, though. So, and if you upgrade it, it actually reduces the cooldown. So a 70-second cooldown ult, that's just basically an instant kill on anybody. So a pretty good ability. Let me go back down to level 3, though, real quick, so we can talk about the laning phase a little bit. So level 3 is really where you start doing your stuff as Nemesis. Since your 2 is going to hit very hard, it's going to slow them, and your 1 actually applies Bluestone, this is where you're going to have a lot of kill potential as Nemesis Solo. And one thing you can do, if you're just looking to clear the wave, I'm going to let these minions die. Let me kill them real quick. I'll show you how to clear the wave as Nemesis in a pretty aggressive way if you're comfortable with it. So obviously I don't have somebody here to play the opponent for me, but I'm just going to tell you what you would do. So usually, like every scenario I've pretty much ever talked about, is you both walk up to the wave. He's going to walk up to the wave. Say this is an Osiris, just because that's probably your worst matchup. If he walks up to the wave here, I can dash through him and the minions. I'm going to aggro the minions because I hit him with my dash, and then I can 2 the entire wave, and it will die to my bluestone. So you full clear right there. You're going to out clear pretty much everybody. However, you did just use your dash, and that leaves you a little bit vulnerable for maybe like them going on you. But like I said, you're going to have your wave full cleared. You're going to still have your wave coming and hitting them. And of course you can fight because you just hit them and the wave and you slowed them, and you're going to do a lot of damage. And you know, worst case scenario, you have to use a relic or something like that. But that's how you play aggressive with Nemesis. But also you can just you can trade with your slow, because you know your 2 hits pretty hard. If I 2 them, auto them, dash through, auto cancel back through. This is when I'm level 3, right? I'm not going to have my shield. I'm going to do a lot of damage there too. And if you have your jungler here, say your jungler is a Robin and they root, like that's just a kill basically every time. So if you can get those auto cancels down as Nemesis, then you're basically going to get free kills in the early laning phase as Nem. So I'm going to talk about the auto cancels in a bit. I just kind of wanted to talk about the laning phase. It's pretty hard. Let me kill this. It's pretty hard to hit the entire wave with your 2 if it's not grouped up. That's why I like to aggro the minions, like to dash through them so that I can group them all up and full clear. So that's one option, but it's not impossible to hit the entire wave. You may not hit with the 2 times, but you want to make sure that you're, like, I hit the 2 times on these back minions, but I apply my bluestone to these front minions, so it helped my clear a little bit. So that's something you can do in solo as Nem. But like I said, I do like to group up the wave, so I just get that instant pressure. And then also in the laning phase, before we talk about the auto cancels and her build and everything, when I start getting my ult, I just ult on cooldown. It just helps me gain pressure because, you know, it gives me protections, movement speed, and everything like that. Basically, whenever my ult's up and I'm in lane, I ult them, and I try and group up the wave with the enemy soul laner, and I 2 it. So if I ult them, I'm going to aggro the minions, and then I'm going to 2 the whole wave and try and hit them with it. And then it gives me a lot of pressure, gives me a lot of damage because, you know, it's a single target ult, and it's a really good ult. But in soul lane, I think you should spam it so that you can gain pressure. That's kind of the only way Nem can gain pressure, is by either trying to kill the soul laner or just making them, you know, back off and sit on their tower with really low HP. So that's basically how you play Nem in the laning phase. Look to kill the enemy solo with your jungler, because, you know, if you shred their protections and do so much damage with your autos because of her passive. Oh, we forgot to talk about her passive. She actually gets physical power when she boxes with people. So that's why I like to play her in solo. So anyway, if your jungler ever ganks, you just ult them, or you use your 2 auto cancel, you know, like that. You're going to do so much damage to them, especially if your jungler has bluestone. Since you're applying bluestone with your slice and dice and your dash, and then your jungler has bluestone and uses maybe 2 or 3 abilities on him, that's 5, 6 procs of bluestone, and it's just going to be so much damage. So, yeah, basically just kill the enemy soul laner when your jungler's there. It's quite easy. So that's how you play Nem in the laning phase. And of course, next we're going to be talking about the build. Before we start talking about the auto cancels, which are probably the most important thing with Nemesis, let's talk about the build, because people might be a little bit confused with that, at least in the solo lane. I like to go Warrior Tabi. Don't really need Ninja Tabi, even though you do use a lot of autos. They're usually auto cancels, so you want those autos to actually hit harder. It will be a lot more DPS if you have just the Warrior Tabi. I still like to go Glad Shield on Nemesis. I think it's a perfect item for her. Little bruiser item. She can heal off abilities. She's going to be able to hit a lot of people with her dash in fights, so I do like to go Gladiators. Since you're going to be really tanky as a Nemesis solo, you're going to be able to dash through pretty much everyone. Your 2 is going to hit a lot of people, so I still like the Glad Shield pick up on her. Then I go straight into Hide the Urchin. This is just pretty much the standard build for her. I think you can mess around with this, and maybe, you know, you're not worried about their magical. You can go straight into Breastplate. Now you're at 40% CDR when you have your blue buff, because 10 here, 20 here, and then blue buff gives you 10. So 40% CDR, you're already at full CDR. You're going to be, you know, just doing whatever you want in fights. However, I don't think you need CDR for Nem, at least in the late game, because usually you're ulting somebody using your entire kit and insta-killing them and then getting out. So I like to go a little bit more just like raw health and protections and tankiness. If you can go Stone of Gaia, because I think Stone of Gaia is a really good item, obviously, right now. If they have any knockups, it's going to be really good. And I like to go that there. And then I like to go into Masamune. So even if you build full damage on Nem, she's pretty tanky with the fact that she shreds protections and steals them with her ult. She has a lot of movement speed, a lot of slows to peel for herself. She has a really good dash that can't get interrupted by CC for the most part because you have 2 seconds of downtime. And then your shield, which is like makes you the most unkillable person in the game, basically. That is maybe next to Robin, who can build full damage and be pretty unkillable as well. So I like to go a little bit more damage on my Nem solo. And if I'm feeling a little bit more damage, I would like to go Titan's Bane here. I'm at 10% CDR, 20% when I have blue buff, but like I said, you don't really need the CDR. With this build alone, I'm going to be really tanky, but I'm still going to be able to one-shot those carries, which is what I'm supposed to do, and I'll talk about that in a little bit in the how to fight in the team fights and stuff like that. But I like a build like this, and then late game I can sell my boots for stone cutting. And then I can basically have 20% movement speed right here, and I get movement speed for my ult, and if I have sprint, I'll be good. So I could go another tank item right here. I could go like maybe mantle. I'm going to be able to do a lot of damage. This is going to make me super tanky, basically unkillable, like I said, with this build, if you play it right. But if I'm feeling maybe I don't really need that much more tankiness, and I want some more movement speed, you could maybe go Katana or even Wingblade here. Wingblade's usually a good pickup as well. Makes you a little bit tankier as well. So even though I don't have a lot of protections with Nem or with this build, when I have my Height of the Urchin fully stacked, I probably should have like, and I'm level 20, I should have like 140, 150 physical protections. If I'm near anyone or if I'm autoing anybody, I'm getting stone cutting prots and Masamune prots. So 130, maybe 150, 160 physical protections, and about 100, maybe 110 magical. But you do have a lot of health with this build, and like I said, you don't have to build full tank on Nem just because she's so hard to kill, because she steals protections, has movement speed, retribution, really good ability, and stuff like that. So I like a build like this. And then your second relic will be, let's go level up to 12 real quick, so I can even pick it up. Your second relic should be, you can kind of get away with anything. I like to go blink on her, so you can instantly blink on their carries, and then they have to dash away. You ult them and just chase them down. It's similar to Robin Blink. You blink on them, root them, and then if they dash away, you just ult them, and basically they're dead every time. So Blink's a really good pickup on her. I like it. You can't go wrong with Thorns, though, but if I'm going to go Thorns, I'm probably going to go Blink Thorns, just because it's such a good combo. You just dive super hard with that. So Thorns is a good option. And you can never go wrong with either Beads or Aegis, since you aren't building full tank. Like I said, it's gonna be pretty hard to kill, especially if you go a relic like this. But I usually like to go maybe Blink Sprint or Blink Thorns. So those are my relic choices for that, and that's basically just how you build Nem. You can kind of mess around with it. Let's sell these items again. I'll show you another build, what I was talking about before. So if we have Bluestone, let's just go through that like we normally would. Then we're going Warrior Tabi, and then we're going Glad Shield, like I said, because I still like Glad Shield on her. I think it's a perfectly good item for her. Then I would go Breastplate, and then this is kind of a greedier build, and it's not going to be as tanky, but your full CDR here when you don't have blue, and then go Masamune, and then you can go Titan's Bane last time. This is more of like a damage build. Full CDR, you're going to do a lot of damage with this, and you're still going to be pretty tanky because you get all these prots from Breastplate and stuff, and then you can sell Glad Shield late game for whatever. But this is more of like a greedy build, honestly. I like the other build more. So yeah, that's basically how you build Nem. Something I forgot to talk about is the level order, so let's go ahead and do that next. So the level order on Nemesis Solo is basically the same as Nemesis Jungle. You're going to max your 2 first. At level 4, you're going to put a point in your shield, then your ult, and then max your 2 out. Put a point in your shield. You can point save if you want to, and then have your 2 maxed out. You can point save at level 9 or whatever. And then put a point in your ult and then max out your 2, but you could just put a point in your shield. And since you lower the cooldown and get so much extra stuff for your ult, and like I said, you want to spam it in the laning phase, you should definitely level your ult whenever you can. So put points in it when you can, but max out your 3 next. Then interchange between your ult and your dash. So basically, the priority is your 2, ult, your shield, then your dash. Your shield's a really good ability, and you can mess around with not just having 1 point in your ult and then leveling your shield first, because it gives you a lot of sustain in laning phase. But like I said, I like to spam my ult, so I want that those extra benefits and the lower cooldown. So that's basically how you level Nem in solo, just like you would in jungle. So next up, we're going to talk about the auto cancels for Nem. This is probably the most important part for her. It's going to be a difference between a kill and not a kill most of the time. Most of your high level players are going to be using the auto cancels on Nem pretty efficiently, but it's actually not that hard, and I'll show you why. I just want a full cooldown build so I can do the auto cancels more often. This isn't like your normal build. We already talked about that. And all of her abilities actually auto cancel. A couple auto cancel better than the others, but her one's pretty good. You auto, dash, auto. And when they made that change to her so you could auto or use abilities in between the dashes, it made her a lot better and increased her DPS by a good amount. And you can also do it with the 2. It's not as fast, but it's still pretty good. And then the shield is probably one of the best auto cancels in the game. Probably up there with Osiris Tether because it's just so instant. The numbers basically pop up at the same time. So you auto, 3 auto. That was 150 and 158. It was probably like a millisecond in between each. Obviously not that short of a time, but it's very fast as you can see. And you can also do it with her ult. If you'll just do it like that. It's not as good as the others, but basically weaving in autos between your abilities increases your DPS pretty much no matter what, unless it's like a super slow animation. So yeah, all of our abilities auto cancel. And this is super important for Nem solo because you're not building as much damage as you are in jungle, so these auto cancels are going to increase your DPS and make sure you can still kill those carries. So if you do have blink, I'll show you a couple combos you can do. If you do have blink, a lot of times you see a carry, you're going to blink in, ult them, to them, dash through, and do that, and then you can do some sort of combo like that. But if you don't have blink, let me go grab my abilities again. It's not even as fast as you can actually do it. If you don't have blink, something you can do to get towards their carry is you can dash into, and then dash again. Something like that. Obviously, you used all your abilities before you even ulted, but that's going to slow them, so if they dash away, you're going to be able to chase them again. So that's one combo you could do. You can use your dash to get into them, get close to them. These are all just like the auto-cancel combos. This isn't even basically how you... I'm not showing you how you play a team fight, but these are just kind of the auto-cancels for her. Another thing you can do is you can walk up to him, and then use your dash as at the end of your fight, basically. Let me show you what that means. So I'm using my dash at the end so that if I have to dash out of the situation, I can do that. So if I'm able to get up to them, I can 2 them, auto, shield, dash through, and then like dash away. So let's try that again. Basically, I'm just showing you all the different kind of auto cancels. I can walk up if they're using abilities on me. I can use my shield at first, dash through, and then I missed my auto there, but you get the point. Basically, dash away. A lot of times these characters or these people are going to be moving. They're not going to be sitting still like this Odin. Like I have to, if I dash through him here, this character's probably going to move somewhere. But since it's an Odin bot, he's just going to sit there, so I may actually miss my auto cancel. But in reality, you're probably not going to miss your autos ever, just because they're going to be a moving target. So you're using your shield a lot of times here just for the auto cancel, and you might think, well, you're wasting your shield because what if they don't do any damage to you? Most of the time, when you're in somebody's face or around the team, they're going to be trying to use their abilities on you. So this shield isn't going to be wasted. There's going to be something that they hit you with that's going to proc it, right? So something like that. But the most efficient way to do this auto cancel sort of thing is to use your ult at the beginning of it, right? Because you want to have the shredder protections and the extra movement speed and all that kind of stuff for the entire combo. So I would walk up, then I would go like that, something like that. And that was probably a little bit slow. Let's try and do it again just to show you how fast you can actually do it. It's basically instant. I probably have a clip that I can show you guys around right now that I can show you where I use it perfectly, and it's just an instant kill when I don't even have like a full damage build. So we'll try this again. Just gonna walk up and ult him. So something like that. That's basically how you auto cancel on Nem. I have all my abilities on instacast except my ult, just because I don't want to miss ult somebody in a fight. I want to make sure I get the precise person I want. But the rest of them I have on instacast is gonna help your auto canceling a lot because you don't have to right click to cancel the dialogue on something. So I'll just show you what I mean real quick. So if I have my 1 out, I'm gonna dash. It's gonna pop up again. I'm gonna have to right click and then left hit my 1 again to even dash. So I have to right click and then left click for my auto cancel. Whereas if I was just using my instacast, which is my default setting, I can auto 1, hit my button. All I'm doing is left clicking and hitting the button right after. So it's much easier to do it that way, and this applies to all of her abilities, even her shield. So stuff like that. It's just going to increase your DPS a lot. That's why it's, I think, the most important thing on Nemesis, and a lot of characters like her, like Osiris. So that's how you auto cancel on them. So now we're going to talk about the team fights with Nemesis. I got my Height of the Urchin stacked up to 10. So we're at 161 physical, 108 magical. If we're near people with Moss Fineokay like these two Odins, we'll get even more. If we hit people that are stone cutting, we'll get even 30 more protection. So that's why I like this build. Even though it's more of a bruiser build, you still get a lot of protections. And if you feel a little bit slow, like I talked about before, we could end up selling this for, if we want more damage, we can go Heart Seeker. It gives us a little bit more pen, and we're more faster now. Or we could go, Wing Blade or whatever. So we'll just stick with this for now. With Nemesis in the team fights, you're actually going to be going on the carries most of the time. In jungle, when you're building more pen and more damage, you're going to be going on the tanks sometimes because you can coordinate with your team and you're going to be helping peel, and you guys can just one-shot with Nemel, because it shreds their protections. It does a lot of damage. But in solo lane, with a build like this, I'm going to be going on their carries because I'm going to be doing basically true damage to them. If I have my ult up, I will 1v1 anyone in the game. It's not a you should be able to 1v1. You will 1v1 any character in the game, any carry for that matter, especially if your ult's up. But even if it's not, you should still be able to 1v1 with the reflect damage on your 3. If you have thorns instead of, sprint or something, or maybe even have sprint, you should be able to 1v1 them pretty much no matter what. But that's why we're going on the carries, because of our build. We're going to have more damage on the carries instead of the tanks because we're not building as much penetration. So, and also as a solo laner, it's your job to go on the carries to zone them out. And like I said, you should be able to 1v1 anyone in the game. So, how do you play the team fights with Nemesis? Basically blink on their carries, ult them, and just use all the auto cancels and all your abilities on them. It's pretty much how you do it every single time. There's some scenarios where you can maybe you're pulling Gold Fury or something like that, and a tank turns the corner and you're grouped up with your team because you've pushed your wave or whatever, so you're grouped up with your team and a tank turns the corner. Whoever that is, usually it'll probably be a tank, you can ult them and then your team can blow them up with that. But most of the time you're going to save your ult just to ult the carries in the team fight and just go on them nonstop because you can 1v1 them pretty much no matter what. And Thorns even helps that more. So that's kind of why I like Nemesis. She's basically unkillable and she wins every trade. If you just blink on somebody and then they jump away, just dash on them. That's one thing you got to keep in mind. That's why I like blink so much on Nem and Thorns. If I let me go grab my blink real quick. Sprint over there. So say this Odin is their enemy ADC or the enemy mage. If I blink on them and to them, they have to jump away here. And what I can do is they just jumped away. They may use their beads, or maybe they sprinted away or something. I can dash after them after their jump and ult them, or I can ult before I dash and then dash towards them, and then they have to use an active. And either way, I'm going to catch up to them, and they're going to have to turn around and try and fight me. And that's kind of why I think Nemesis is really good in solo, because she's kind of a warrior, right? She's super unkillable just based on her kit, and she can kind of 1v1 anybody and just wants to brawl. So she's good in jungle just because she has such a good kit, but I kind of feel like she's more of a warrior. That's why I like going builds like this. So I know I haven't really talked about it that much, but it's pretty straightforward on how you play Nemesis in the team fights. You're pretty unkillable, like I said, so you can soak up a lot of damage. And don't forget that you can go Thorns and kind of go on their ADC nonstop. Maybe you can fit an Anemian in here, drop a little bit of health, but fit an Anemian, and then your Thorns is even doing more. So I kind of like a build like this. It's kind of a mix in between. And even though we have the percent pen here, if we go something like Heartseeker, we're going to have that flat penetration against those carries we're going on, and even stone cutting. That's why I like stone cutting so much, because you're already shredding their protections, but you're also reducing them by up to 30, and you're going to be going on the carries, so you don't have a lot of physical protections anyway. So you're basically going to be doing true damage with your stuff, and you have kind of a tanky build anyway. So that's why I think Nemesis is really good in solo. The only thing that you should be worried about is how you play the laning phase. If you're against a character that's super high pressure, make sure that you're not stupidly dashing the waves so that they can kill you like an Osiris. Maybe you dash through him and take a lot of damage, and then he just goes on you. You kind of want to avoid that. But once you get your ult and once you get more points into your shield, you're going to be fine no matter what, basically. You can dash through and kind of do whatever you want. So yeah, that's basically. And also another thing in team fights, look to dive with your jungler, because you're going to be able to. Nobody should ever get out if you have Nemelt and a Robin chasing them, or a Camazotz, or whatever's chasing them, Susano. If their carries have a Nem Susano on them, one who is basically a full bruiser, the other one who one-shots you anyway, they're never going to be able to get out, and you can kind of instantly win team fights, even if you're behind. I feel like if you go on their carries and their entire team doesn't peel for them, you kind of make room and separate them from their front line, then you're going to be able to win those fights pretty much all the time, pretty much 100% of the time. So that's basically how you play Nemesis in the teamfights. Pretty straightforward. So that's basically it, guys. That's how you play Nemesis in the solo lane. A little bit different from jungle, but that's why she's my favorite solo right now. She kind of has a really good warrior play style. Super fitting for the solo lane, in my opinion, especially with builds like this. You're going to be able to kill pretty much everybody in the game, solo people consistently. The only thing you have to get down is that laning phase. Don't want to be giving away kills as an assassin in the solo lane, because that's not good. And sometimes you can get out pressured, so you're just going to have to practice that. But once you can get that down, the team fights are going to be so easy. You're going to realize that you're unkillable, and you're going to be killing everybody and doing an insane amount of damage. So it's pretty straightforward. Just to summarize, make sure you get those auto cancels down. That's going to increase your DPS a lot. Make sure you're grouping up the wave in the laning phase so that you can full clear and, maybe apply pressure that way by just clearing faster than them. Look to brawl if you want, especially with your jungler. The 2v2, the level 3 with Nemesis is crazy with the 2 ticks of bluestone on her 2 and her 1 and the amount of damage that both of them do. These 2 abilities do a ton of damage. 2 hits like a crack in late game, especially if you go like a full pen jungle build. But yeah, that's why Nem's my favorite solo right now. Definitely give it a try. Try out a lot of the things I said. Get all the auto cancels, the play style down and everything like that. And like always, dive all the backlines. And you will be getting free kills, and the enemy carries will have no idea what to do. Literally. Because it's pretty much impossible to kill Nemesis. So yeah, that's basically it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did. I already said that at the beginning of the video, but whatever. I'll say it again. Let me know which god you want to see next. We'll probably do another sub goal for the next god guide. I'm going to be going to HRX this week, though, so if you're going there, come say hi to me. I'd love to meet you. And yeah, that's basically it, guys. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.